Hey everyone, and welcome back to another World of Warcraft video. During the PTR, I made a video on the Antoran wastes, but I didn't really get around to releasing it. Well, after hearing people's reactions to the zone, I shared it with my Twitter followers, and yeah, damn, people really seem to be on board with what that video was talking about. So, I polished it up, it's all edited, and that is what we are going to be doing today. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. So, I'll be honest, this is not the type of video that I really love making, but I think this is one that's actually decently important to get out there. The third zone in Argus exemplifies for me some design trends in the outdoor content that I think lead to really deeply frustrating gameplay. Do bear in mind that the other two zones, especially Makari, are fantastic, and this video is just one person's opinion, but man, if you thought the Broken Shore was frustrating, just wait until you are in Antoran. Now, I'm doing this video to share my opinion, so it is just that. I know that they're developing the zones of the next expansion around now, so I kind of want to see if we can start a conversation. There's a quick survey if you're interested, and it'll be pretty cool to get some solid stats on what people think. But let's actually get into the video. So, this is the third and final zone of Argus. It contains lots of world quests, rare mobs, and elites, therefore it's somewhere that you're going to be spending quite a lot of time in. So, when looking at a zone like this, we've got to think about how fun it's going to be to, well, you know, actually be in, and that is where we run into problems. So, it's got a lot of very twisted, very jagged terrain, and often has a few different levels verticality-wise. There are many ravines that cut through the landscape, and these ravines often have pits of lava at the bottom of them. Then, on top of all this, we've got a pretty damn high mob density, and in general, this zone feels super compacted. It honestly feels like it could be 1.5 times the size, but was just sort of shrunk down. And this leads to a few different problems, and I think it highlights some general design issues. First things first, though, this area is supposed to feel like some sort of hell. You are right outside the patch raid, the land is twisted and destroyed. It's the ultimate example of the damage the Legion causes to an area, and that seems to be why Blizzard have designed it the way that they have. The zone, yeah, it feels like literal hell to be in, but not in a fun way, and, well, why is this? Okay, so the design of a level is going to be very heavily based on the developer's goals. In this case, we're playing an MMO, and the level essentially serves as a canvas for world quests and other forms of world content to be on top of. This means that players need to travel between world quest areas regularly. And here especially an issue that you often run into is that world quests are actually quite close by as the crow flies, but they will require you to navigate around a ravine, or maybe try your luck at jumping over the ravine. So, is traveling around a ravine much fun? In this case, not really, as it doesn't impact the gameplay that much. I'm generally not a fan of obtuse terrain as a means of lengthening travel times and making you sort of open up your in-game map and things like that. I think this is one of the reasons why people were very happy to see flying be added to the Broken Shore, because you could just get around all of that. Now, I do like geometry challenges when they're tied into the gameplay, be that a hyper-specific sort of gimmick quest, or something more traditional, for an example, traveling up a tower to kill a guy at the top of the tower. In that case, the geometry is an active part of the gameplay, and it adds to the unique experience of doing that quest as sort of constructed by the designer of the quest. But when it's purely a navigation challenge just to be obtuse, I think not so much, especially when going through the travel path necessitates going through heaps of enemies that you don't want to kill, combined with, say, days. It's just an example of the game's level design not actually matching up with the gameplay systems, and more specifically, the player behavior that's created by those gameplay systems. Now, we are talking about World of Warcraft here, so how much fun is navigation in World of Warcraft, and do the game's movement mechanics support content like this? So basically, is it fun to jump over the ravine? Well, the Demon Hunter feels a lot better off here because of their excellent mobility, but the unresponsiveness caused by the lag with their glide and their fell rush, like I have 19 ping, so I assume it's a server-side thing, does make the movement not particularly great. Past the Demon Hunter, well, few classes are equipped to deal with things like this, and whenever players do find fun ways to navigate, Blizzard do tend to turn into the fun police and nerf it, instead of embracing the fact that people clearly enjoy sort of that way of playing. Flying over a ravine isn't that interesting, but throwing yourself high up into the air and using a kite to glide over it, that is kind of satisfying. You're combining stuff together to overcome a navigational challenge, and this is where I bring up Guild Wars 2 in this video. So, its first expansion added gliders and a number of new masteries. Masteries are a form of sort of endgame progression there, that allow you to better use gliders and also allow for some other movement options. Essentially, ArenaNet embraced the fact that navigation mechanics can be fun and feeling like you've broken the game by doing a cool thing with a glider, like that's just fun. So they added a progression system around it, and in the process, they allowed themselves to make more interestingly designed maps that are fun to navigate, that don't have their exploration ruined by always-on flying. If you look at a lot of the Guild Wars 2 zones, if you had always-on flying mounts, they just would not work. Now, when we look back at Antoran, for me, it's the perfect storm of all these things going wrong. WoW does not have well-developed, grounded movement mechanics. It's got things like days, which really aren't that fun at all. Antoran is perfectly designed to point out the weaknesses in the grounded gameplay of World of Warcraft and therefore leave players overly frustrated. As an example, we'll go back to that big old ravine that's across the zone. Now, its visuals are really cool. I love the sort of jagged, twisted look, but all that it actually does is make you go look for a bridge, and the process of finding a bridge is made annoying by generally high mob density, so it isn't always a fun experience. Okay, so jumping across the bridge, well, that's fun enough on a demon hunter, you feel kind of accomplished, but as I said, the jumping mechanics are not that well implemented. There's they're not very responsive, there's a bit of lag there, and there's a fair chance you'll end up falling into the ravine, at which point you'll be glad to know that the developers put lots of lava and basilisks in there. Lovely. But of course there's tiny rocks to jump across, but you'll still take many ticks of damage. You've got to ask, what is the benefit of all this? Where's the interesting decision-making created by it? Another upshot of this, actually, is that one of the entrances to your home base is kind of like, it would be through the ravine, but the ravine's there, so you sort of don't end up going, to your home base through the ravine, which is just kind of annoying. Overall, it's just the perfect microcosm of baffling level design that seems to be from another game, a game that is designed to make spaces like this to be fun challenges, whereas WoW just isn't. The general ravine problem is just one example of how the overall layout of this zone is. In my opinion, it's poorly designed and not fit for purpose. Now, I get what they want to do here. They want it to feel hellish, but there are better ways to do that than to design it to be overly frustrating. First, they could consolidate the navigational challenges to gameplay areas such that the world quest, mob placement, and all that is really designed to make, an awesome world quest to do, whatever. And this creates a scenario where the level design of the world quest areas really matters, but then navigation between gameplay layers, or gameplay areas, is decently friendly. Now look, I don't want to just have a bunch of circular arenas with world quests in them, linked to each other with straight roads. That would be terribly bland, but I think you see what I mean. Less of the overtly annoying stuff when it comes to navigation and, accidental deaths and things like that, and then more time spent on doing level design for the gameplay areas. Now, if there are going to be more ground-based movement mechanics in the game, then I think Blizzard should start to embrace the fact that players, as an example, really enjoyed using the idle, kite, and winds combo near the start of Legion. Perhaps they should try to work out how to take the strengths of that and the fun of that and integrate it into a new gameplay system. We could use the grappling hook from Stormheim, but how about making it instant without a few seconds where, it sort of does nothing, and maybe it could have some momentum that you could then combo into a kite or something like that. Like, if the animation of that grappling hook was sped up, it would look fine to the eye and it would play a hell of a lot better. Perhaps a zone like Antoran could give us a new sort of movement mechanic or ability. Maybe Turalian has the Army of the Light version of Q just down in the lab somewhere. Maybe we could head on down to him and get some sort of new gadget. I mean, come on, we're in space. It's okay to get weird with it. Really, I think zones like Antoran could work really well if Blizzard invested time into making the movement mechanics and the playability of the game be a lot more fun. But they kind of haven't. Finally, there is the topic of overly dense zone design in Legion in general. I've already done a video on that, which you can check out over here. But really, that's it for this video. I know it's not a super bright, happy one. I kind of wanted to just take a personal complaint and then spin it into a game design talk so that we could perhaps get a little bit more out of it than me just sitting here saying, oh, I don't like it. So, hey, let me know what you think. There should be a survey down in the description, so take a look at that. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.